Dawn broke over the horizon, bathing the monastery in golden light, where disciples gathered near the lotus pond in reverence. The Buddha's calm gaze met each disciple's, his silence speaking louder than any words could as they awaited his teachings. Buddha's eyes rested on a single lotus, its petals unfolding in gentle harmony. He began, "Beginner's mind is like this lotus, untouched by the burdens of judgment or attachment to expectations." Ananda, seated closest to the Buddha, raised his eyes to the flower, its petals flawless despite growing from muddy waters. "Master, what does the lotus signify in the teachings you share with us?" Ananda asked, his tone laced with curiosity. "The seed asks not who it will become nor fears its transformation," he explained. He turned his gaze toward the sunrise and spoke. "Each day offers the unique dawn unknown to yesterday's sun. As the lotus rises above mud, compassion transcends suffering's grip." The disciples nodded, their hearts stirring with recognition of the universal truth within the Buddha's simple yet profound metaphor. The Buddha continued, "Compassion begins when we see others' pain as our own, their joy as intertwined with our existence." He paused to let his words settle among the gathered disciples, their expressions now reflecting contemplation and heightened awareness. "Imagine a lotus growing alone in isolation," the Buddha mused. "Its beauty remains unseen, its lessons untaught. Is this fulfillment?" Ananda responded, "No, Master. Its fulfillment lies in its connection to the ecosystem, offering its essence to water, bees, and air." "Exactly," the Buddha affirmed. "Compassion is like this lotus, nourished by interconnectedness. It exists to serve and thrive through shared existence." The stillness of the pond mirrored the quiet yet transformative atmosphere surrounding the disciples as they absorbed the Buddha's wisdom. "Compassion," the Buddha elaborated, "is not pity, nor is it attachment. It is understanding beyond judgment, flowing from a place of unity." A question lingered in the air, though unspoken, until Mahakashyapa voiced it softly. "Master, can compassion truly transcend anger and fear?" The Buddha's gaze softened. "Anger and fear are like mud and weeds. Compassion rises above them, neither consuming nor fighting them." Suddenly a young monk with puzzled expression inquired, "Master, how may one liberate attachments gathered through years of emotional weight?" Buddha calmly regarded him, reflecting timeless compassion before responding directly. "Embrace the present where freedom awaits reflection guiding beyond time's personal imprints." Gathering all attention, disciples refined clarity, cultivating humility, aligning mindful awareness before offering gratitude. It awakens through mindfulness, generosity, and the recognition of universal suffering. With these words, he extended his hand toward the water, stirring faint ripples that danced outward, symbolic of interconnected actions. "Each ripple you see spreads from its source," he observed, touching everything around it, like compassion influencing lives it encounters. Ananda remarked, "Master, the lotus teaches us, yet remains silent. Its lessons are clear even without speaking." "How can silence teach?" "Silence," replied the Buddha, "reveals truths words cannot reach. Like the lotus, it requires presence to be understood and cherished." The disciples fell into silent meditation, the pond becoming their companion in reflection, its ripples mirroring the depths of their minds. As moments stretched into timelessness, the Buddha resumed, "Every act of compassion blossoms within you and around you, like eternal lotus petals." Rahula's gaze was steady now, his earlier youthful impatience replaced with quiet resolve, his questions transformed into a pursuit of practice. The Buddha continued, "Compassion needs patience. As the lotus waits for sunrise to bloom, it does not rush, nor does it despair. True compassion does not seek reward," he added, "nor does it demand recognition. It acts simply because existence calls for connection. Mahakashyapa nodded, his life's struggles now reframed not as burdens, but as fertile ground for his own lotus to thrive. The Buddha's gaze wandered briefly, observing the pond, before speaking again. Compassion, too, must be guarded, nurtured against weeds of ego. The disciples, feeling his words, reflected on the fragility of their intentions and the vigilance required to protect their growing compassion. Rahula asked softly, "Master, must compassion always act? Can it exist as simply a state of being, without outward expression or form?" The Buddha smiled, his answer calm yet profound. Compassion's essence is both stillness and action, neither apart, each fulfilling its purpose. The pond itself seemed to echo his wisdom, its surface undisturbed yet brimming with unseen vitality below, rich with possibility. The Buddha continued, "Compassion is not a flame that burns briefly. It is the sun itself, rising daily, perpetual in its light." Each disciple felt the gravity of his words, sensing both challenge and hope in embodying compassion as a continuous, enduring principle. The Buddha's tone softened further, yet retained its clarity. "You must hold compassion not as duty, but as joy and service." Rahula asked, "How can we share compassion without overstepping others' boundaries? Must it always be offered openly, or sometimes remain unseen?" The Buddha answered, "Compassion respects others' freedom. It does not force itself, but gently offers support, even unseen, without expectation." His words felt like water soaking into dry soil, nourishing parts of the disciples' hearts long untouched by such clarity and wisdom. Ananda ventured, "Master, if we embrace compassion fully, can it shield us from despair when confronted by the magnitude of suffering?" The Buddha met his disciples' gaze, his expression like calm water. Compassion shields not by avoidance, but by deep immersion in truth. The disciples, now deep in thought, saw the lotus as both symbol and guide, an eternal companion on their spiritual paths. The Buddha's teaching extended into the depths of their awareness, leaving them with questions and answers coexisting like ripples in the pond. As the morning waned, he added, "Compassion transforms. Its strength lies in its gentle resilience, unwavering like the lotus rooted in mud." The disciples felt his words take root, their individual struggles slowly dissolving, unified by the shared pursuit of compassion's endless potential. Stillness returned, sacred and profound, both from the Buddha and the pond. Their teachings intertwined forever in the disciples' hearts. As the lotus stood, silent and resilient, so too did the disciples, carrying forth its lessons to bloom in the world. Another day, another journey. The disciples followed the Buddha's steady steps as they ascended the rugged path of the Aravalli hills. The trail was steep and winding, challenging their resolve with loose stones that rolled underfoot, demanding patience and careful navigation. Rahula looked ahead at the Buddha, his steps unhurried but unwavering, a calm presence amidst the rigors of the climb. Ananda spoke softly to Rahula, "Observe our master. Even in difficulty, his balance remains. He teaches not only with words." The group reached a clearing where the expanse of valleys and forests stretched endlessly under the canopy of the sky. The Buddha turned to face his disciples, the wind carrying his robes lightly, as though nature itself acknowledged his serene authority. "Look beneath your feet," the Buddha began, his voice steady as the ground they stood upon, resonating like a song of truth. "The mountain rises from the earth, its base wide and steady, its peak unmoved despite storms and rains that batter it." Rahula asked, his voice tinged with wonder, "Master, why do you choose the mountain to teach us today? What lesson does it hold?" The Buddha answered, "The mountain mirrors the mind in equanimity. It stands firm regardless of the winds of pleasure and pain. Ananda, curious, inquired further, Master, how can the mind attain such steadiness? Does it require detachment from the joys of life? The Buddha replied, Equanimity is not detachment, nor indifference. It is insight. It sees joy and sorrow as impermanent, transient waves. He extended his hand toward the horizon, the expanse before them vast yet humble, like the truth his teachings revealed. Consider the mountain, the Buddha continued. It does not seek shelter from storms nor lament their arrival. It simply remains. Rahula hesitated before asking, Master, must we be unmoved by feelings to find equanimity? Do emotions not enrich our lives? The Buddha's gaze softened as he answered, Emotions are like clouds passing through the sky. They color it briefly but never define it. Mahakashyapa spoke then, his voice thoughtful. Master, does equanimity shield us from suffering? Can it prevent our hearts from breaking in pain? The Buddha replied, Equanimity does not shield us. It transforms us. It teaches resilience by accepting pain as part of existence. The disciples reflected deeply on his words, their thoughts like ripples spreading across the surface of their minds. Quiet yet transformative, the Buddha continued, The mountain's equanimity comes not from rejecting the weather but from embracing its permanence. And impermanence equally. Rahula nodded, his questions quieting as understanding dawned like sunlight illuminating the peaks below them. Firm yet fluid in its clarity, the Buddha gestured toward the summit, standing proud against the sky, unchanged in its essence regardless of external circumstances. As the mountain stands firm, he explained, so must your mind remain grounded in wisdom, unfazed by existence's ever-changing winds. Ananda raised his voice gently. Master, how do we know when we've achieved equanimity? Is it felt or simply known in practice? The Buddha smiled. Equanimity is known not by absence of emotion, but by presence of peace amidst emotion. It reveals itself silently. Mahakashyapa asked, Master, does equanimity distance us from others? Can it isolate us in its pursuit of balance? The Buddha replied, Equanimity does not isolate, it connects. It frees you to love unconditionally without being tethered to outcomes. The disciples felt his words as though the mountain beneath them vibrated with affirmation, grounding them in its eternal presence. The Buddha continued, Equanimity is not passivity, it is active wisdom, enabling you to respond without reaction, to act without attachment. Rahula asked, Master, is equanimity the same as surrender? Must we give up our desires to attain it? The Buddha replied, Equanimity is not surrender. It is balance. It lets desires flow freely without binding your mind to their weight. As the wind brushed their faces, the disciples stood silent, each lost in reflection on their own path toward equanimity's steady embrace. The Buddha spoke again, his voice a soft echo across the hills. Equanimity frees you to see life's truths without distortion. Ananda asked softly, Master, does equanimity make us invincible to suffering, unshaken by the world's harsh realities? The Buddha replied, It does not make you invincible. It makes you resilient. It teaches you to endure with grace and understanding. Rahula spoke once more, Master, if equanimity is balance, must it be constant, or can it be fleeting, like moments of serenity? The Buddha replied, Equanimity, like the mountain, is constant in essence. Its fleetingness lies only in your perception, never in its truth. The disciples felt the profundity of his words settle within them. Quiet yet alive, like seeds planted in fertile soil, the Buddha gestured to the path they had climbed. Rugged yet steadfast, each step leading them higher toward clarity and insight. As the mountain rises, he explained, so must your mind ascend. Each challenge you face strengthens your resolve, deepens your understanding. Ananda asked, Master, can equanimity be taught? Or must it be discovered? Is it a gift or a skill? The Buddha replied, equanimity is neither taught nor given. It is revealed through practice, arising naturally when wisdom clears the mind's clouds. The disciples sat on the rocky ground, gazing at the valley below, their thoughts as expansive as the view before them. Rahula asked, Master, does equanimity require solitude to thrive? Can it exist within the chaos of a crowded world? The Buddha replied, equanimity thrives everywhere. It is not bound by place or situation. It grows where the heart is ready. The mountain seemed to echo his wisdom, its peaks steady and unmoving against the shifting sky above. Timeless in its presence, the Buddha's voice grew softer, yet it carried the strength of mountains. Unwavering in its clarity, unyielding in its truth, equanimity, he concluded, is the mind's mountain. It rises above fleeting winds. Rooted in the soil of wisdom, unwavering and eternal, the disciples felt the strength of the mountain resonate within them, its lessons embedded in their hearts. Quiet yet transformative, the Buddha added, as the mountain stands, so must you. Equanimity is not an escape from life but a deep embrace of it. With these words, silence returned to the clearing, sacred and profound, leaving the disciples to sit in quiet reflection, absorbing the truth. The wind carried the echoes of the Buddha's teachings across the hills, blending them with the timeless whispers of nature itself. Another day, another river. The disciples gathered near its banks as the sound of rushing water filled the morning air. The Buddha stood silently, his gaze fixed on the shimmering surface, where sunlight danced upon the ripples like fleeting moments. The disciples watched him closely, the calm of the river reflecting the stillness that enveloped the group in quiet reverence. Observe the river, the Buddha began, his voice steady yet soft, carrying a wisdom that seemed to flow like the water. Mahakashyapa, seated nearest, asked, Master, what does the river teach us? What lessons does its unceasing flow hold for our paths? The Buddha replied, the river teaches us interconnectedness. Its waters come from countless sources, merging and parting, yet always moving toward the ocean. Rahula, curious and eager, asked, Master, does the river's flow symbolize impermanence? Is its path a reflection of life's transient nature? The Buddha's gaze softened as he answered, Yes, Rahula, its impermanence teaches us the beauty and necessity of change within existence. Ananda remarked, Master, the river seems both tranquil and powerful. Can it teach us to balance gentleness with strength in our lives? The Buddha nodded. The river flows without resistance yet carves its way through stone. It harmonizes softness with persistence. He extended his hand toward the water, letting a droplet fall from his fingers, its ripples spreading outward in concentric circles. Every action, the Buddha explained, is like these ripples. It touches all around it, seen and unseen, near and far. Rahula asked, Master, if we are like the river, does our existence depend on others? Are we truly unable to be separate? The Buddha answered, no drop can exist apart from the river. No being is separate from the web of life. Ananda's voice carried thoughtfulness as he asked, Master, does the river's flow represent destiny? Are its waters bound to follow one inevitable path? The Buddha smiled. The river follows its course, yet it adapts. Destiny exists, but within it lies freedom to flow. Mahakashyapa remarked, Master, the river seems unwavering in its movement. Is this unwavering flow a reflection of determination within us? The Buddha replied, the river's flow arises from its nature, not from effort. Determination flows when you align with your true essence. Rahula asked softly, Master, what happens when the river dries or is blocked? Does it cease, or does its existence endure elsewhere? The Buddha answered, the river never ceases. Its waters rise as vapor, fall as rain, and return again, ever transforming yet eternal. The disciples reflected deeply, the sound of the river becoming their companion in contemplation, flowing like thoughts through their minds. Interconnectedness, the Buddha continued, teaches us that our actions and existence are part of a greater whole, inseparable from all life. Ananda asked, Master, does interconnectedness imply that individuality is an illusion? Are we simply facets of a single universal flow? The Buddha replied, individuality exists within interconnectedness, like droplets forming the river. Uniqueness thrives while remaining part of the greater unity. Rahula, thoughtful, remarked, Master, if interconnectedness binds us, can our actions truly make a difference? Or are they lost in the flow? The Buddha smiled gently, every action matters. Rahula, even the smallest ripple alters the course of the river, shaping its destiny. Mahakashyapa asked, Master, does interconnectedness demand selflessness? Must we relinquish ego to fully embrace this universal truth? The Buddha replied, interconnectedness calls for selflessness, but not loss of self. It reveals the self as part of something infinite. The disciples felt the profundity of his words settle within them, their hearts opening to the river's silent teachings of unity. The Buddha gestured toward the horizon, where the river disappeared into the distance, its end unknown yet its path unwavering. As the river flows, he explained, so must your life move forward, guided by purpose, accepting change, embracing interconnected existence. Ananda asked, Master, can interconnectedness bring peace amidst chaos? Does knowing we are part of all things calm the storms within us? The Buddha replied, interconnectedness brings peace. It reminds you that storms within are reflections of the whole, fleeting yet transformative. Rahula asked, Master, how do we live with interconnectedness? Must we act with constant mindfulness of our impact on others? The Buddha answered, living interconnectedly means acting with awareness. It is not constant effort but natural compassion flowing from understanding. The river seemed to echo his teachings, its waters carrying life while remaining silent, its flow both gentle and powerful. The Buddha spoke again, his voice blending with the sounds of rushing water. Interconnectedness teaches harmony, balancing individuality and universality within existence. Mahakashyapa asked, Master, does interconnectedness diminish the boundaries between beings? Can it unite us without losing our essence? The Buddha replied, interconnectedness does not erase boundaries. It bridges them, allowing unity while celebrating diversity within the web of life. The disciples sat silently, their thoughts deep like the river, flowing and shifting yet anchored in the Buddha's timeless wisdom. The Buddha gestured toward the ripples spreading from a pebble tossed into the water, watching them fade yet continue their journey. Every action, he said, creates ripples that merge with others. Your choices shape not only your path but also the world's. Rahula asked, Master, is interconnectedness affected by ignorance? Does failing to see our unity harm the flow of life? The Buddha replied, ignorance disrupts the flow but cannot destroy it. Awareness restores harmony, allowing the river to heal and thrive. The disciples reflected on the significance of his words, their hearts striving to embody the harmony the Buddha described. The Buddha's tone softened yet retained its clarity, carrying a wisdom like the river's endless flow, shaping paths with gentle persistence. Interconnectedness, he concluded, reveals life's unity and diversity. It teaches balance, understanding, and compassion, connecting all beings in infinite harmony. The disciples felt the river's teachings resonate within them, its flow mirrored in their thoughts, endless yet ever-changing. The Buddha added, as the river flows, so must you, embracing change while remaining constant in purpose and truth. Silence returned to the riverbank, sacred and profound, leaving the disciples immersed in quiet reflection, their hearts united by the truth. The sound of the river carried the Buddha's teachings onward, blending them with the timeless symphony of existence itself. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.